at the price of the willed suffering of others? And what may be the cost to souls of a world intent upon banishing suffering? Banish suffering, and you banish sacrifice. And if sacrifice is the currency used in the economy of salvation, then the absence of sacrifice would bankrupt that economy, and souls would be lost. It is the resolve of the modern world to effect such a bankruptcy. It must then be the resolve of the church to oppose the modern world. Our churchmen should be reminding us that we are not tourists, but pilgrims, that life is not a sightseeing excursion conducted for our pleasure, but a pilgrimage to Calvary, to be crucified with Christ. And we will be crucified in the flesh, all of us, whether we will it or not. Our bodies, despite all our pampering and the ministrations of modern medicine, will inevitably succumb to disease and death. Many of us here may suffer much before we die. The crucial question is whether our suffering will become a sacrifice. And that will depend on how we use that one gift that shall not be taken from us, our will. Not all suffering has value. Spiritual writers tell us that God does not so much care about what we do, he cares about what we are. This does not mean that he is indifferent to morality, as certain heresies have claimed, but that we make our actions holy, that is, sacrificial, by our intentions. A man can suffer and curse his suffering and even curse God for allowing him to suffer. In this way, his pain will have been wasted. What might have become sacrifice in expiation of his sins and for the salvation of others is poured out like water in a desert instead of welling up into that spring of everlasting life. The man who suffers pointlessly is like one who has great wealth he can bequeath to others, but chooses to burn or bury it so that no one can ever benefit by it, least of all himself. Jacinta, who became a model of how to turn suffering into sacrifice, was graced during her long illness with prophetic visions. One of her revelations was that most of those who would die during World War II would go to hell. All of that suffering, that immense carnage, and so few saved by it. It was a terrible vision and one that distressed her deeply. Yet, who can doubt that she foresaw the truth? The whole world at war, yet no one fighting for the kingship of Christ. All the combatants fighting for their vision of an earthly utopia through communism, Nazism, fascism, capitalism, socialism, but not through Catholicism. Millions dying and most falling into that conflagration, our Blessed Mother showed the children at Fatima, and all because the world would not listen to her Immaculate Heart, and too few people made sacrifices for the conversion of sinners. Has the world repented since World War II? Have we seen a return to the idea of man as penitential pilgrim, offering sacrifices for his own salvation and for the conversion of sinners? Have our church leaders heeded the message of Fatima? Has devotion to the Immaculate Heart been preached in season and out of season as our only hope in this dire time? Have Our Lady's simple requests been fulfilled? We all know the answers to these questions, and they are such as should make us tremble at the chastisement that is doubtless coming.